There's a quick way to check it. I'm just going to kind of run it through. If you need to pause for it, and then you can look at it longer and then hit play again. So there's all the solutions. And then afterwards, I'll go through and talk about a few of the problems. But if you just need to check them, you can check them pretty quick just by looking at it and hitting pause. Of course, if you need more time, just hit pause. So the town starts off with that many, and it's changing by going down by 250 each time. That's how I got that equation. That's where he starts off. So your y-intercept idea, your initial value, and this is how it's changing, the slope. People per year. I want to find out when it's going to be the same, so I put them equally to each other. That's another word for same. Solve it. Plug it back into one of the equations. Doesn't matter which one you plug it in. And you can find out what the y is. So to graph that, I want to make sure my point was somewhere in the middle. So since I knew it was 16, I just went by ones here on my x-axis. For my y-axis, I knew I had to go at least to 12,000. So I just went by thousands. I knew 16, 8,100, put a dot. I knew the y-intercept. It's going to be 12,000 from my equation here. See the equation? 12,000. And I drew my line. Did the same thing with the other equation. It was at 4,500. There's a dot, and it goes through that point, so I drew a line. Labeled my point of intersection. Use your equation to find the population of Hicksville in 8 years. In 8 years, plug it in for the x, because that's the x-axis, years. And I solved it, and I got 10,100. And then over here, Snob Place will be above, the population will be above 9,000, so that's population is the y. See, the y is the population. Plug it in, and then solve. I have two ratios that are equal. I can butterfly it, cross multiply, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget to distribute. 3 times 2 is 6, and then I distribute it through. Hard part here for people is this negative times the negative makes it a positive. That's where most people make their mistakes. I combine like terms. Combine like terms. Get all my x's on one side, so I added 2x. Subtract the 4 from each side. Divide. No solution. The part that gets people here is when the x's cancel out and I'm left with something that's not true, then there's no solution. There's no possible way to get an answer for that. When 6x equals 0, what number could that be? Well, it has to be 0. 0 times 6 would be 0. So don't think about writing no solution there. Let's see. 30 more students than adults. Okay, so my students is the big number, so I have to add 30 to the adults to make them the same. So I take the adults, add 30, and it'll be the bigger number. $5 for every adult, $2 for every student, and that's a total money plus money equals money. I substituted this guy in for the x. That's how I got this equation, and I just solved it. Distribute, combine like terms, and I needed the adults and students. I just started plugging in x's. 0, 0 squared is 0. Make it negative, still 0. Minus 4 times 0, 0. So it's just 1. Plug in 1. 1 squared is 1. Make it negative, so that's negative 1. Minus 1 times negative 4. Negative 1 minus 4. It's negative 5. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. I just did that for a bunch of points until I saw my parabola. I knew it was a parabola because it was a squared. I knew it was upside down because it was negative. Find the point of intersection. So I'm going to use the elimination method. I multiplied this one by 4, this one by 3, and then they would cancel out. The y's would cancel out. See, that's why I did it. So I get 31x equals that ugly number. And divide, and then you get 4. Once you find 4, plug it back into one of them. Doesn't matter which one. I plugged it into the top one. And you get the y value. Let's see. Slope, change in y, change of x. So I did y minus y, x minus x. That's how I got my slope. And then I plugged in negative 15 and 33 for my x and my y. Solved, and I got my b value, and there it is. Oh, this one looks different than the one on your test. Oh, I changed it there and didn't change it here. So we'll just skip that one. Factored it. Two numbers that multiply together to be negative 50. Add together to be 23x. So that's 25, negative 2. Common factor, common factor. 5x times what is 25x. That's how I got the 5. X times what is negative 2x, negative 2. So I just did that on all of those guys. Don't forget to look for a common factor. That's when I pulled out the common factor. Pulled out the common factor. That was the only thing different on that guy. If it's perpendicular, opposite reciprocal. So if the slope is 2/3, opposite makes it negative. Reciprocal flips it upside down. Plug it in. And there you go. Parallel, same slope. So this slope was 5/3, so this new line is going to be 5/3. Plug in a point, I know, x and a y, solve it, and there you go. All right, hope that was helpful for you.